always do now.
That's true.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
I'm
gonna post something real quick, just on Instagram, so people know that we're going live.
All right. I guess we have to wait for people to kind of come in because right now we got 0 viewers. Oh, yeah. We got 3. We got 3, guys. We made it big. The fame will get to my head very soon. God.
Stop.
Hello, welcome to the show.
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Today, we are going to talk about Joanna Shupe's new book called The Duke Gets Even, which I think a lot of people have already read so far.
Yeah. It felt like we were like the last ones to get to it almost.
Yeah, and it just came out and we're still the last ones, you know?
Right.
Everybody was reading their ARC copies. Everybody was just going at it and we were just like patiently waiting for everybody. But
Right.
Already has under close to 1,000 reviews on Goodreads.
Wow, that's pretty good for a historical. Historical, that's very impressive.
Hello, Linda. Hello, everybody.
Hello, Monica. Hello, Linda.
Hello. Welcome. I think me and Rachel will probably sit at similar ratings once again for this. I assume that she really loved it. Rachel really loved it because I was watching her Instagram stories and she was so excited to finish the book. And I was like, oh, I need to start the book.
Now it's flip-flop because last month, like I finished the book like 20 minutes before the live show. Yeah. So we're flip-flopped.
I definitely finished the book 30 minutes before the live show.
Yeah.
That's
the vibe. But that means it's fresh in your mind. It's very, very fresh in your mind.
Yeah.
I finished it like Wednesday, I think. Mainly because the loan for the audiobook was running out. And so I was like, oh, okay, like I really need to read it now. You know?
Yeah, like we have no time.
We have no time. We have no choice.
Welcome to the early, like we usually have at least 1 month in between our meetups. It's usually a monthly meetup, but this one was kind of like an earlier show that we did because we have busy schedules and we really just wanted to read this book that we were joking around about how everybody already read. At least all our friends already read, and we're the last ones.
It feels like all of our friends have already read the ARCs like months ago, and we're all just now getting to it. So we're very happy to see all of you here and in the comments. Yeah. And I am so excited to talk about this book. So I'm currently filming a weekly reading vlog because we're doing the novella-thon right now with Ava, Tiffany, and Samantha. And so, like, even though this is definitely not a novella, I was reading it during this week. And so I'm like ranting to my camera for like 20 minutes about this book. And I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to edit this down? Like,
wait, why are you ranting? Hold on. Okay,
no,
what
like
you're reading? Okay, let's start
like ranting and raving, like just like going on and on. About,
raving.
Like,
okay.
Like ranting and raving, like in a good way.
In a good way. Oh, thank goodness.
Yes. I was like going on and on about this book, and so I was like, I don't know how the hell I'm gonna edit that vlog down, but I'm excited to have like a full hour today to rant and rave even more. we got
some comments already that are very, I feel like, okay, so we never talked about our ratings yet. So
we haven't even like gotten into our general thoughts. So Lisa, you can go first.
Oh, okay, just throw me first into the ring. But this one, okay, so I agree with Linda saying that Joanna Shupe can be a hit or a miss for me, and unfortunately it's a miss this time. But for me, I agree that is a hit or a miss a lot of the times. But for me, this one I actually really enjoyed. So I'm different from Linda and pardon this book addict that also didn't really like this book and DNF'd it. I really enjoyed it. At first it was kind of hard for me to get into the story because it's just not the typical heroine and hero that I see. Well, like the hero I'm used to, but I've never really met like a hero who was engaged to someone and then who would purposely go out and cheat on their engaged person. So I didn't really like him at first, but then our heroine was very like,
Well, they
I don't
weren't
know what
engaged yet. They weren't engaged yet. If you're talking about the
they
very
were.
beginning,
Yeah, they were about to be engaged,
they
but
were
like
about
it
to
was
be
kind of
engaged.
like, yeah.
So, but I
Yeah.
understand.
But I don't know what time period this book. Okay, 1895. So, but
So
it
that's
felt
Gilded
very,
Age.
yeah. It felt like our heroine was definitely very forward thinking and she was very feminist and she was different from all the other heroines that I've read from historical romances. So it was like she was bolder, she was a little bit more like it took me a little bit longer to like her personality and just like her in general, but slowly but surely she won me over and the story won me over. So I really enjoyed it, and I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It wasn't a perfect read for me, but I still really liked it. All right,
So, can you tell everybody like what books you have read by Joanna Shupe?
okay.
Like, have
So
you read the other like any of the other books in this series? Like, I don't remember if you have.
yeah, I did. So I read The Lady Gets Lucky and then The Bride Goes Rogue, and I think both
Okay.
books I gave like 3 or 3.5 out of 5 stars. And I know we were joking around about reading The Heiress Hunt for jokes because that one was the book that's the first book in this series that everybody just hated and had like a 3.4 rating on Goodreads, and everybody was just like telling us to skip it. So I didn't have the opportunity to read that one yet to make fun of it, but the second and third one were pretty solid reads, but this one was probably maybe my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, getting into my general
Yeah.
thoughts. So, hands down 5 stars, easy for me. Joanna Shupe is one of my favorite historical romance authors ever at this point. I've read almost everything that she's written, except I have not read her. She did write like a Regency era trilogy. I believe that's like her first works. And then I still have one book to read in her Knickerbocker Club series, which again, that was before she got with Avon.
Mm-hmm.
But so in this series, one like Lisa said, I've also read The Lady Gets Lucky and The Bride Goes Rogue. And so for any of you that know me, you know that like I have not shut up about how much I love The Lady Gets Lucky. Like anytime I talked about Joanna Shupe or historical romances in general, I had to bring up the fact that The Lady Gets Lucky is literally one of my top 3 historical romances of all time. I love that book with my whole heart. And so upon reading this, I really, really liked The Bride Goes Rogue. By the way, I still gave that one 5 stars, but obviously like, that couple is not as memorable. It was a great book. There was some great groveling, whatever, but I was dying for Nellie and Lockwood's romance because it was set up from The Lady Gets Lucky. Like I was just dying for their story, right? And so this was absolutely a home run for me. And upon reflection, I honestly think I love this one more than The Lady Gets Lucky.
Wow.
I know.
That was my next question for you. Like, would you
Yeah.
say it would beat and it beat it?
Yeah. And
Wow.
I think so. The main reason why is because in The Lady Gets Lucky, I like Alice, the heroine in that book, but Kit was absolutely the star of the show of that book. Whereas for me, with this book, Nellie and Lockwood to me are like equal, like iconic, amazing characters. I truly love them both equally.
Yeah.
And I just really loved the direction that Joanna Shupe took this story. And like, it truly gave me everything that I wanted, not only from their romance, but also from like the finale of this series as a whole. Cause like we got that scene later on where like all the friends came back and were like supporting Nellie. And it was just like moments like that I just love out of like finales of romance series. And it was just, oh man, it was so wonderful. So yes, if I were to give any books 6 stars, I don't do that. But if I were, this would absolutely be a 6-star read.
Yeah. So Jen gave it a 6-star and it's her first favorite of the year. So yeah, I agree. Like I agree with you about how the 2 characters were equal to each other, equally developed. They each had their own struggles and characterizations that made it a strong book. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so let's go through some of the comments. So Lexi didn't read book number 3, but she read this one. It's the first book of this month for
Mhm.
her. It's a 6-star read for
Yay, another 6
Amy.
star.
She loves it. Then we
Makes me
got a
so happy.
5-star rating from
Yeah.
Renetta, and then Lexi gave it 4.5. Okay, and then Linda loves Lady Gets Lucky. We got another 5-star rating, 4 stars. Lockwood has her whole damn heart. And then we got a DNF, and it was because Nellie's characterization.
So I do want to address this comment, and Jen did too,
Yeah.
in the comments as well. But I interpreted that as, she kept saying that because Lockwood is someone totally different to everybody else. He has to convey this image of being the perfect buttoned up Duke, and he desperately needs money for all of his debts, right? And so he has to have this image, right? But with Nellie, he can be himself. And so it's like he's releasing his monster, especially when they were like having sexual encounters. Like that's what that was referring to. It definitely wasn't her being like, you're a monster, you're an awful person. It was like, no, like you're showing your real self
Yeah.
with me right now, So I mean, I actually took it to be kind of a loving thing in a way, and a teasing thing that she would say to him sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But
Well,
also,
and maybe if you try it again when you're in a different headspace, because like you said, you just like were dealing with a lot that day. So maybe trying it again.
yeah.
It
And
might feel different.
hopefully everything's okay with your son and that
Yes.
we're past, the hard parts. So,
Yes, absolutely.
and then, yeah. So she did mention that it's a soft DNF, try again later. I agree. I always soft DNF a lot of these books, and I have a separate shelf for it that I always think about going back to.
Yeah, that's good. I hope you enjoy it when you try it again.
And then Jen loves it when a woman does a grand gesture. I liked it too. It was such a fun little twist. I was like gonna be so mad if he just stepped in out of nowhere, but good thing she like went back to him and did her thing.
Because you really couldn't have Lockwood do the grand gesture because he already he flayed his heart open to her like numerous times.
Yeah.
And I mean, he showed how devoted he was to her and how much he loved her, but there's only so much you can do when someone like Nellie is just so adamant about keeping people at a distance, or keeping him at a distance specifically because of like we learn more about her past and like how it felt when she lost her mother, and like all and the fact that he has heart problems, and she doesn't want to be a duchess. She has no and for the longest time she didn't want to be married. And so, she kept pushing him away. And so then towards the end, when he's getting ready to sell off the estate, and he was like, oh, we're about to meet the new owners, I'm like, bitch, Nellie bought it. I was like, she had to have bought it, right? And so then when it's revealed, I was like living and dying at the same time. I love when the heroine has to do the grand gesture every now and then.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
I was like really scared though, because there are like a lot of historical romances out there where people get away with like their issues, and then the other person grovels, and then it just ruins the book for me. So I was like really scared that like Joanna's gonna make her not do the groveling and not do the grand gesture.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I went into this. I definitely did not expect this to surpass my love for The Lady Gets Lucky.
Yeah.
I just went into this like, we're finally getting Lockwood and Nellie's romance. I'm so excited. Like, I went into it just thinking it was going to be a fun time and it was going to be great, and like, and it ended up being so much more than that. And I was like truly blown away by like the level of like the character developments of both of their characters, and like the direction of the plot in general, and just like, I don't know, just different plot elements, different side characters that I really loved. Like, I just didn't expect where this book went, and like how it like truly pulled at my heartstrings, and like, like just truly blew me away. So definitely a pleasant surprise for me as well.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to be as complex as it would be because it's like a overall like you can like just like slap a label of friends with benefits kind of a historical
Yeah.
romance, but it's
Yeah.
not. It's like much more because of how, deep and rich these characters are and how real they are a lot of the times.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was so steamy. It was so steamy. I think that's like the one thing that you have to like recognize from Joanna Shupe's books is that they're very steamy, very delicious, very good.
Yeah, this book truly had some of the best steam that I've read by her. Like I feel like every book just gets better and better because I one of the things that really stands out about The Bride Goes Rogue to me is the steamy scenes.
Yeah.
And then of course in Lady Gets Lucky, that was Lessons in Seduction, which was also really fun.
Yeah.
And so in this book, yeah, she like stepped it up even more. And so like Joanna Shupe like constantly surprises me. Like I don't even know like why am I surprised anymore at this point? Like I've read almost all of her books, but like she truly steps up the steam with each
Yeah.
book.
And you mentioned that you read like a lot of her other books that are published not from Avon, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have.
And like how have they differed? Do you think like she grew into her voice more? Like do you think she developed more over the course of the books that she has written?
Absolutely. Like as much as it's interesting because I think she's finally finding her stride with Avon
Okay.
because those books those were published with like Kensington Books. It's like Magnate, Baron, Mogul is the third book. I haven't read that book yet, but I have also read Tycoon, which is a novella in that Knickerbocker Club series.
Mhm.
And I have also read her first series with Avon was her 400 series.
Mhm.
Those books, with the exception of the third book I did, really, really enjoy. The first two books in that series are very meh. And I have to wonder if it's like she felt like she had to almost censor herself more with Avon. Like she didn't quite know maybe how to write with them or that new editor or what have you. Cause like
Yeah.
that Knickerbocker Club series is amazing as well. Like maybe not quite to the level of like my love for like this series, but I would almost put it on par with how much I love her Uptown Girls series. So I do think in some ways like her writing style has grown, and I just feel like to me at this point she's like in her writing prime
Yeah.
at the moment, because like everything that I've read very recently from her has been just home run after home run. So I'm just very excited to see like what she's going to come out with next, because she hasn't released any info in terms of like what her next series is going to be about, though I do have some like feelings or maybe theories, but
Yeah. That was the next question I was gonna ask you. I was wondering if you knew if she had like another series planned because usually like for some reason like historical romance authors like they publish like 2 books a year sometimes. Like
yeah,
it's
I'm
usually the first
actually
2 books in a series, but since she just concluded this one, I don't know if she's gonna publish a new book in a new series this year too.
I'm trying to think, because I feel like the Heiress Hunt and like the Lady Gets Lucky, I feel like they were like published within the same year or
Yeah.
something. Like, yeah. I have a feeling based off of like The Devil of Downtown involves a hero who has this like underground empire, right? He like runs the underworld of New York. And then seeing Nellie's cousins, her Irish family, I have a feeling that Joanna might be branching out more towards like romances involving like these street gangs and stuff, which I would really
Interesting.
love to see from her, because I feel like she writes that like atmosphere really well,
Yeah.
and that vibe. So I'm just really excited.
That would be very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We were fist pumping when it was revealed that she
Yes.
got it.
I like put my book down for a second. I was like, it's her. She had to have bought it. And I'm like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, this is it. Because I knew it was going to have to be that she would come to him in London.
Yeah.
She was going to eventually follow him. Like there was no way that like he was going to have to come back for her. Like, no. She was going to have to fight for him and come to him. And oh my God. Yeah.
And then I also agree. Like I was a little bit nervous about like the heavy feminism, but it was like something that I really agreed with. Obviously, it made sense and it
Yeah.
didn't come off as like too intense in your face. It came off as, yo, this is real.
Yeah, and I really appreciate her author's note at the
I
end.
didn't read her author's note.
Yeah, so she, for those of you who maybe didn't read it either, she goes into kind of the history of women's reproductive rights and how, like, for instance, like abortion was legal until about the mid 1800s, which I didn't know. I just kind of assumed that it had kind of always been illegal here in the States until Roe v. Wade. And she was talking about how there were these certain laws put into place that are referenced in this book that restricted how women could get a hold of birth control, such as shields and sponges and other methods like that. And I really liked that ended up being the passion that Nellie found in life, because like that was a big thing with her character, is that like she was like, all my friends are leaving me because they've all gotten married, they're all gonna have kids, and I'm left alone, and like I do not know what I want to do with my life. I'm just hanging out at my dad's house, tending to these plants. Like I have nothing. I have no like really, what was her reason for living, right? And so I really liked that ended up being her passion by the end of the book.
Yeah. And yes, I also really like the small characters too. Definitely made the scenes more interesting and everything.
Yes. I loved her aunt, Riona, that like she was kind of her mother figure in her life. And then her dad was really cool too. I just love that her dad was like, listen, she's very similar to my late wife. Like, I just know, like, I have to let her live, you know? And he does. He just, you know, he lets her live her life. And I loved like the scene when they went to the like Irish pub.
Yeah.
And Lockwood and Finn were fighting like for fun. And like, oh, that was so great. I love when Joanna Shupe puts fun scenes like that in her books. Because there's scenes like that. I can pinpoint like a scene in like every book of hers that's just so much fun, and it just like adds a lot to the story.
I agree. And I also agree with Lexi too as well. It's believable for the time.
Yes. Yeah. I remember Crystal from Crystal's Bookish Life. She did a discussion sometime back. I can't remember what book it was that she read. I believe it was like an Eva Devon book. But she was talking about how like some historicals nowadays are like too pushy with feminism, if that makes sense. Like they make their heroines like unbelievably like overtly feminist in their occupations, or like to the point where it's just like I just said, like unbelievable. Like I don't know. And I feel like in this story, I agree like with Jen. Like I feel like some people were kind of nervous that like the feminism was going to be too much. And like Lexi said, like it is believable for this time period.
Yeah, small mafia vibes.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely, well, and Joanna Shupe loves Peaky Blinders, which I have not watched that show yet.
I haven't watched it.
I need to watch it because I've heard nothing but amazing things, but that's what that series is about, is like these street gangs. And so that's actually what her short story in the Villain I'd Like to F anthology was inspired by. And definitely The Hero and Devil of Downtown also gives me the Peaky Blinders vibes. So I'm very interested to see if she's going to like go like full like mafia on us.
Dark historical romance, maybe
historical mafia. Yeah.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah. I'm not sure, Linda, what you're talking about.
Draw on the body? Was there drawing?
Oh, is she talking about when she dug her fingernails into him because he liked that? I don't know. I don't know. Linda, you're gonna have to explain.
Follow up with just follow up with a quick comment on this one. We don't know.
There better be. Come on, Finn. I loved his character. There better be.
It's probably a spinoff. Oh,
yeah,
we cracked the code, guys. We're figuring out her Easter
I think
eggs.
that has to be the breadcrumbs that she was leaving.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I think it's the one with the yellow cover. I'm pretty sure that's the one that Crystal was like, okay, this is way
No,
too early.
I have that book on my
Oh, I'm
shelf.
planning on reading it soon because I
Yeah.
have like an arc of it still on NetGalley, but like, but yeah.
Somebody read the first book in that series. I think I'm gonna quote. I can't quote people. I thought it was. I don't know if it's Ava who read it, but like she read the first book in that series and she really liked it. And I was like, okay. Or is it Tori? I don't know. I forgot. Somebody was reading it and really liked it. So then I bought the both books. Oh my god.
I
Okay.
really liked book 1, The Spinster
Okay.
in the Lake. That one's really good.
Yeah, I heard the meet cute was really cute. So that's why I bought the book.
That one did have a good meet cute, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'll watch the news. Yo, that's a good one.
That's
Good one.
too real though, Amy. Too real.
Okay, Linda meant biting.
Oh,
Facts.
I mean, I'm cool. Honestly, the things that I read at this point, girl, biting is not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And I love that Jen is bringing up these theories to connect between Joanna Shupe's pen name and these historicals. Do y'all know that she has a pen name?
Does she? What's her pen
She does.
name?
Joanna Shupe does. She writes under her pen name. I don't know if it's public knowledge, but like I feel like I've seen Joanna kind of post about it, but I'll just say it. Who cares? Like, there's not a ton of people watching this right now. It's Mila Finelli is her pen name. She writes. It's the Kings of Italy Mafia romance series, which I love those books. They're very bonkers, kind of over the top, but they're a fun time. And so Jen was like, oh, I wonder if she's going to write like a historical romance series of like their like ancestors. But that doesn't make sense because it's like the Irish street gang versus Italian mafia, but still. Oh, okay, good. I'm glad that there's like some kind of public knowledge about it because I really want it to be known. Because like I know so many like book talk girlies that love Mila Finelli, and I'm like, hey, you should read Joanna Shupe.
Oh shit! This series is very popular.
It's a fun time if you want a good bonkers mafia romance. Again, the steam is there. Check it out. I'm very excited for book 4. That one's going to be an MM romance, and I'm very excited for that.
I haven't read. I mean, like I haven't gotten into mafia romances yet. So, but we'll put it on my list forever when I feel like I want to jump into that.
Yeah, it's just something fun.
Yeah.
I know. Isn't that amazing? Jen was the one that figured it out first because, well, and Jen just mentioned she's going to book signings this year, so she outed herself. But before she outed herself, Jen was listening to a podcast that Mila Finelli was on, and that's definitely Joanna Shupe's voice. So, she did the sleuthing. She figured it out.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, like, that makes me even, well, and I'll be real. I didn't initially plan on reading Mila Finelli's books because I had seen some people just, like, I don't know, not giving them great reviews and saying that they were, like, too over the top or, like, whatever. And so I was like, oh, okay, maybe those books aren't for me. And then when I realized that they're Joanna Shupe, I'm like, oh, wait, now I have to read them. Like, now I need to know, like, what these books are about. And I ended up really liking them. So,
yeah.
Joke's on me.
Yeah, I'm looking through my Goodreads and literally all my friends that I'm connected with on Goodreads have read this book. And here I am going like, what is this series?
The audiobooks are really good.
I just saw Lacey's review and her review is, I do not recommend the audio for this because Fasto's Italian accent was ... not good.
Well, okay, to be fair, you can tell that it's like a little exaggerated.
Okay.
I kind of liked it for the bonkers vibe, but yeah, people really did not like the first one, and yeah, I really liked it too. I almost gave it 5 stars.
How could we say that people didn't like it when it's like a 3.94 rating? That's a pretty high rating.
I think that's like the book talk girlies.
Oh, the book talk girlies made it high. All right, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But then I had to find legit.
Fact.
Yeah, and then book 3, oh my god, Mafia Madman. I love that book. I gave that one 5 stars.
Interesting. Very
Yeah,
interesting. Very interesting.
because if for nothing else, those books will definitely like entertain you. Like you can't
How
be
okay,
bored.
describe how they're bonkers.
Oh, so like both romances in the series. So like books 1 and 2 are the same couple. Book 3 is a different couple.
Okay.
Both couples are a captor-captive situation, I think. Because I think towards the beginning of book 1, the hero ends up taking the heroine captive. But the setup of book 1 was actually that like Francesca, the heroine, was put into an arranged marriage with Fausto's son. So Fausto's the hero of the series, his son. But when she gets to Italy and is like living with them, Fausto's like, I want her for myself. And so I think he takes her captive, unless I'm like getting my mafia books mixed up. There's definitely a captor-captive situation in book 3, which is a different couple. But yeah, it's just like very like bonkers and over the top, and like I don't know, maybe not Jessica Kane level bonkers, but like it's just wild. It's just like a wild time. Book 3 is absolutely just crazy. Absolutely crazy. Yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. Very like taboo kind of situation.
Yes, definitely like dark taboo. Like you could tell that Joanna just like wrote these books to have fun and not have to worry about a publisher like she has to with these books. She can do whatever the hell she wants. So yeah. But book 3 is also captor-captive, and like so it's a different hero, Enzo, who is like mafia rivals with Fausto, the hero of the first 2 books. And so basically to get revenge against Fausto, he takes Francesca's sister captive. And like the first part of the book, he literally keeps her naked in a cage on his yacht. Like that is what you're getting into.
That's a lot, bro. That's a lot. I didn't know it was like, yeah, same. Interesting.
Yes. Right. He's hot. So what's a girl to do, you know? But yeah.
But to be naked in the cage?
And so it's just like a really fun game of like cat and mouse between the 2 of them. It's a good time.
You know what? Those are the books that I read when I want to escape life.
Exactly.
And I read it at like 12 a.m. in the morning, and then I don't stop reading it until like 3:30 at night. I mean 3:30 in the morning.
These books are going to give you that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, yay! Because he has all the security cameras watching her, and she's just stuck naked in a cage, and so she's like, all right, well, I guess I'm gonna do some yoga. I guess I'm gonna
Random. All right, you know what? Fair is fair.
Yeah, try it out.
I will. I'll put it on the list. I put it as a want to read, so now I know.
Yeah.
What did you read?
Read all night, just staying up.
Oh, okay, like in the middle of the night. Yeah. No shame. And it's best. It just clears your head when you do those binges of like those bonker novels that you find on Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah.
All right.
But
what else can we talk about?
Well, I kind of wanted to go back to this book a little bit, just because I feel like there was something else I wanted to bring up in terms of like their individual character developments. Oh man, I'm trying to think about it. But also, this is one of those books that like this doesn't happen to me very often. I did not want the book to end. Like I would like pause the audiobook and I'm like, wait, no, we're getting closer to the end. Like that doesn't happen to me very often. Like even with 5-star reads, like usually when I'm reading a book, I'm like, okay, like it's time for the book to end. Like I'm good. I'm gonna write my review and like I'm good, you know. But every now and then, you know, books like this come along and I'm like just so invested in their relationship. Like I am not gonna lie, I teared up. I even cried a couple times.
Where did you cry?
Oh, I cried. Like I don't know if it was like specific moments. I definitely like teared up when I figured out that she bought the estate.
Mhm.
But I was also like getting very emotional, like in those scenes when like Lockwood's heart was like becoming an issue, or like
Mhm.
when Nellie was trying to get him to go to the doctor and like he didn't want to do it because he'd been to a million doctors, and like, you know, all that whole struggle. And like when she was talking to her Aunt Rihanna, I remember that whole conversation towards the end, and like Rihanna finally got her to open up about, okay, you're really scared about this because of what you went through after your mom died. You know, like that just made me really emotional. Like Nellie coming to this realization of like, shit, I really do love him, but like, how is a future ever going to work between the two of us? And he's going to have a shorter life expectancy.
Yeah.
You know, like all of this stuff just like getting in the way. Oh man, y'all, I loved the amount of angst in this, by the way. I loved that like they had that, you know, like midnight tryst at the very beginning of the book. Loved
Mhm.
that scene. That was so awesome. I love that there's like so many scenes in the water with them. Like, love it. And then like when she figures out, oh, he's trying to marry my friend, and so she kind of hates him for a while. And Lockwood's like, why are we so at odds? Like, why do you hate me so much? Like, can we stop? You know, and like just like the development, and like it was just, oh man, the angst was so good. It was just so, so well done.
Yeah. I really liked how, like, she needed a push to really just understand, like, her feelings for him and, like, what she needs to do for herself in order to be happy. And, like, I like the push that her aunt gave and, like, that whole speech towards the end where,
Yes.
yeah, basically, like, hold on to happiness, take it where you can, and live, like, the life, you kinda deserve.
Yes, that
Yeah,
was so, yeah, that was
that was
wonderful.
good.
And
That
she
was a good
needed
one.
that from someone in her life, you
That she
know, like,
trusted. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because it wasn't, we knew, unfortunately, it wasn't going to be Lockwood. Lockwood wasn't going to be the one to like really convince her to go for it. She
Yeah.
really needed it to come from somebody else.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, I loved like there was this like the scene when he realizes how much he loves her, and like he starts proposing marriage to her. I always love when the hero isn't the one keeping them at an arm's length.
Yeah.
You know, he had gotten to a point where he's like, I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't care that you're scandalous. I don't care that you wouldn't be like the perfect duchess. You know,
Yeah.
like I love you. Yeah, at one point he was like, I worship you. Like I love you, girl. Like come on, you know. And it was really Nellie had to be the one to like work through her issues, um, to so that they could finally be together.
Yeah. And we talked about this earlier in the live, but this was my favorite of the series. But I haven't read all four. I skipped the first one, so
Yeah. How would you rank the three?
this one would be number one. And then I think I like The Lady Gets Lucky next, and then The Bride Goes Rogue, number three.
Same.
I think.
Same.
I think.
Yeah. Because with me, like, The Bride Goes Rogue was just like a really fun. Well, and I remember when I had read The Lady Gets Lucky and I saw like the cover reveal and title and stuff for The Bride Goes Rogue, I had assumed that was going to be Lockwood and Nellie's romance, right? And so then when I read the synopsis and I was like, oh, it's Catherine and Preston, like whatever, you know, like I definitely was like disappointed, but then I ended up really enjoying the book. And so, yeah, that book is never going to mean as much to me as this book and The Lady Gets Lucky. You know, it just can't measure up.
Yeah.
I actually like that it wasn't glossed over. That's something that I worry about when there's a character who has like some sort of like chronic problem or like serious health issues, that sometimes in the epilogue the author will be like, "Oh, they got the treatment that they needed and like everything was like, you know, everything's like wrapped up in a neat little bow." Whereas in this epilogue, they just brought up that he was going to see a new doctor. No, he was going to like that treatment center in I think Switzerland or Germany or something. And then Lockwood was like, "All right, if I go to this, you're gonna seriously consider having kids with me. Okay, thanks." Like another one of their like deals. And Nellie was like, "Okay, fine." I really liked their epilogue, their happily ever after.
Yeah. I thought it was really fun. wrapping up everything. Okay, there's a lot of comments. Okay, so
Yep. I know. Oh, that scene was it was just so tough to read because you knew that Nellie wasn't going to agree with him. You know, wasn't going to agree to marry him.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I liked her father too.
Oh, I loved that conversation that he had with Lockwood at one point. Like, this was right after Lockwood had decided in his heart. He was like, okay, I want this woman. I'm going to marry her. And he went straight to her father. And I really liked how her father was like, okay, but like, you can't push her too far. If you really, you know, if you really want to fight for her, like, this is how you have to do it. Cause this is how I had to do it when I married my late wife.
Yeah.
You know, I love that he was like actually giving him advice and like not giving him a hard time, like just being like real with him.
Yeah. But so was like he was a good father overall, just teaching Nellie like to be more open and to like, you know, understand certain things that she
Yes.
was just confused about.
Which is nice because quite a few of Joanna's books feature really awful parents. So, so it's really nice when we
It's a
get
nice refresh.
like it's really nice when we get like really great supportive parents in one of her books.
Who are they?
Oh yeah. they were they're just not as iconic as like Kit and Lockwood. Yeah.
Oh,
I don't like it. I don't like it. Can
it's
I,
greasy already.
Lexi, I'm going to be real. When I opened this up, I actually thought they like accidentally sent me some kind of ARC copy because
Yeah.
ARCs look like this. And so when I saw that it wasn't matte, I was like, Avon, what is this because of the strike?
Wait, what's like the HarperCollins strike?
Yeah, I was like, are they trying to save money? So they gave us this? I don't know. But I'm not
They're
happy.
doing a lot of weird things nowadays.
Aren't
They're like
they?
switching up the sizes of the books randomly in the series with no explanations, and they're just doing random stuff, thinking that we wouldn't care and we wouldn't notice. Did he have surgery? I forget.
I don't remember. If all I remember is I'd have to read the epilogue again, but I remember it just being mentioned that he was going to go to that treatment center in another country where there was like a doctor who like had gotten into doing these kind of surgeries. So like the door was open for Lockwood to like get a surgery done or, you know, to like finally heal, but we don't see the end result of that. And maybe we'll see a glimpse of that in like future series or something.
Don't know if this one was really.
Oh yeah, Alice's mom was literally the worst in The Lady Gets Lucky. The worst. She's terrible. And then Kit's dad was also terrible. Just terrible parents.
Some pages are printed off and there were ink smears.
Wait, now I want to look through mine because I did read an ebook copy. What? No, I don't see anything yet, but that's crazy. Yeah. Now we're investigating. We're investigating our copy.
Yeah. Mine looks okay.
I don't see any issues. But now I want to look at this epilogue real quick and see what happened, what exactly happened with his heart condition. Now I can't remember.
Oh yeah, one of them was in a different size. Which one was it? It was the first. It was the first.
Lady Gets Lucky. Lady Gets Lucky is in a different size, which I actually like the mass market max size, but I understand why it didn't like work with like the genre.
They stopped that so fast.
They really gave up so quick on that.
Yeah, they had this whole grand idea, this whole thing where they were like making it, and you know what? They made it bigger and they charge us more. But then they go back to the normal size and they still charge us the same inflated price.
I know. Oh, so, okay, it says a German doctor had performed a successful cardiac repair last year, and Eleanor had begged Lockwood to go for a consultation. Then it had been his turn to negotiate to press for something he wanted in exchange. To his ever-loving shock, she agreed. And so they were going to start trying for a child so that he would agree to go for a consultation for surgery. But yeah, so like there's hope for him. We just didn't see the end result.
Yeah.
But yeah, not happy about the shiny cover. I know that like it shouldn't matter, but it doesn't match the other covers. Okay,
it doesn't match. It feels weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still want them to be pretty.
But I am happy that like Joanna Shupe gets the beautiful clench covers still, because we're seeing that like not everybody does anymore. That's annoying. But yeah, like the covers for this series are just beautiful. They're stunning.
I think I asked Lenora Bell one time if she gets to have a choice, and I think she said she has a choice on like how the cover kind of looks like. Like she has some input in the cover design and everything. So yeah,
oh, yeah, I think we talked to her and Eva Lee, remember? Like on that live show?
Yeah, and she said that she was the one that she really wanted her name to be in the gold foil.
Oh, that is really pretty.
That was the thing that she really liked and she wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, they literally, I don't even feel like
it was a year. It was a year.
I feel like they did it for like some titles.
And there were like Saint Martin's Press stuck with it a little bit longer, because I know the A Daring Pursuit by Kate Bateman still is in that size, and that was that was like technically after all the other publishers stopped doing it. But yeah, I know. I get like so annoyed when like books like in series don't match. It annoys me.
Yeah. And like Forever Romance is like did that too. But I think they switched back, right?
They switched back. Yeah, unfortunately. I was actually cool with the new size. And so like
size was fun.
It was easier to read. Like I don't like reading these. That's why usually I'll buy them because I want to look at them, but then I read them on ebook.
But okay, I get it. It's like a little bit smaller. But with that being said, I really appreciate it when the font is this big. Because some people's books aren't this big. So it looks like it's a shorter book, but it's not. That you get the audiobook, and then the audiobook is like 14 hours long. You're like, how? And then you flip through the physical, and you're like, oh, that's why. Because they literally like shrunk the size.
Right. It's like really, really tiny font. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Very, very pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Kate Bateman. I know, Kate Bateman does have beautiful covers. And I know that Joanna got to go to the photo shoot for this cover.
Oh,
like that is so cool. Like I would love to see a photo shoot session for a clinch cover. Like that sounds like so much fun. I
always forget how to pronounce her name, but Eloisa James. Is that how you pronounce Eloisa?
Oh yeah, she posted. I remember she posted like a reel.
She does a lot of those. Yeah, her TikTok is so funny, but she does a lot of behind the scenes, like photography for her covers, and it's really interesting. It's really fun.
Yeah, that is. Really
and they're making fun of like people wanting to be the assistants on the shoot because they get to spray like water and oil to make like the body shiny and stuff.
Oh right. Yeah, that's why I like the Mass Market Max, because like it makes me cringe when I break spines on my books. Like, oh, I hate doing it. But these books are so stiff that like you kind of have no choice when reading them. So it's again just reader problems,
I'm okay. Yeah, like I'm okay with breaking a spine, but I don't break spines anymore. The thing I do, or I tend to do, is just like bend it a little bit. So then every time I finish the book, the front part is always like bent a little bit. And I'm like, fuck.
I know. Yeah. Melissa!
No, I didn't. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars.
Melissa, she loved it. She enjoyed it.
But you can't doubt me. I'm an underdog. I like books sometimes.
Well, and that's what's like been so funny about doing this book club with Lisa is that like I went into this like assuming that we would almost always have like a different opinion.
We'll duke it out. Like,
we would have to duke it out, right?
We'll just hate each other.
All the books
thought it was going to be a debate. Like we thought this was going to lead to like a really great discussion, debating, getting very heated with each other. Nah, it was just very chill. Like just us agree and going like nodding our heads, going like, yep, sounds about right.
Yeah, like we pretty much agreed with like
Most of
every
the time, like we lean the right way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Same direction, positive or negative direction. Do we have any books that we didn't really like? No, right?
No,
I think everything was like 3 stars and above for us.
oh, she said, "I can't hear. I'm being a creeper in a restaurant, but you liked it?" Someone type yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Lexi typed yes. But yeah, the only book that I can think of that no, we've agreed on like pretty much. Like, although I think what was it, A Caribbean Heiress in Paris? Like, you technically DNF'd, but like
Oh, yeah.
we still had the same feelings
Yeah,
about
I
it.
enjoy okay, that I think that one was the book that was, like, a little bit too feminist for me, and then, that's why it was really hard for me to, like the heroine as much.
Well, in that one too, like their relationship was like so based on the physical and like nothing
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Whereas with this romance, it was like the perfect balance of like the emotional connection and their attraction to each other. It was just completely equal. Melissa's blown away. Oh my god. I love it. I love that like people know us and they they just like assume that we're gonna have like a very different opinion.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, once again, you do the job of explaining of my emotions and me just nodding along, going like, "Yep, that's why I liked it."
Well, and usually like I don't feel like I'm the most eloquent when it comes to reviewing books usually, just because like sometimes it's hard for me to put into words like
Yeah,
how I feel when I'm reading something, right?
yeah.
But every now and then, like with books like this, it's very easy for me to like analyze, okay, what really like hit it out of the park for me, right? Um, but
It's
sometimes it's
also
hard.
yeah, I don't know how much effort you put into this book club. Do you, like, write notes? Or do you, like
No, I don't.
oh,
And
so you just remember it? Okay. I
yeah,
don't even
so
write notes,
for
but I don't
some
remember, so that's the issue.
oh, well, for some books and some book clubs, I have taken notes in the past.
Yeah.
Same for when I'm doing like reading vlogs and I'm not going to film an update until maybe the next day. Every now and then I'll take notes just to really make sure I'm not forgetting anything. But I think at this point, I've just gotten to a point of like, okay, well, if I forget it, then maybe it wasn't worth remembering. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah.
Worth remembering, worth mentioning.
Right, right.
We also never picked our March book club pick, right?
No, we haven't.
Where's that list that you made that one time? It's, like,
Oh,
way back up, but I think it stopped in March because we just
it
didn't have
did.
a new
It
release.
did.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to find a
I
new release
yes, we
or
do.
a
Well,
release.
right. Like, well, I do have a couple of ideas for authors. Like, I really want to read more from Courtney Milan, and I really want to read more from Grace Calloway.
Ooh, Grace Calloway, yeah.
So, I mean, if there's anything that like pops into your mind of like, but I've only really read like 2 books by Courtney Milan, and there's so many on my TBR. Same with Grace Calloway. I think I've only read like 1 or 2 of her books. So, I mean,
Yeah. For Grace Calloway, I'm in the middle of a series, and I feel like if I force you to read a book in the middle of her series, you wouldn't enjoy it as much because obviously, like all the main characters' friends have their own individual stories, and you'll just be like, "Who is
oh,
this person? Why is she in this story?" Yeah.
well, I know that we were really thinking about reading the book that's coming out in May by her with like the pink cover because I think it has like it involves like an Asian hero if I'm not mistaken, but that's like in her like spy series, I think.
Let me look for this pink cover that you must be talking about. I cannot find it on Goodreads.
All I know is
Asian.
that it's in her newest series and it involves spies, I think, but yeah.
Okay. TBD. TBD offline on which book we're gonna pick for our March book club pick. So Courtney
Yeah.
Milan, Grace Calloway are contenders. And then there's
Mhm.
gotta be like other books too that we really wanted to, or other
Well,
authors
there
that we
are books coming out,
Mhm.
like what is it? Portrait of a Duchess is coming out by Scarlett Peckham in
Oh,
March.
yeah.
That's highly anticipated.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and then I'm very, very excited for Eva Lee's newest book that's coming out in April.
Did you see Charisse Michaels say yes to the princess, like her new cover?
No.
It's pretty, but it's like modernized. So it's just like
because I like her recent covers, but they're not modernized. Like
yeah, this one is like more modern, but it's like pretty, but in like a Harlequin historical romance kind of way. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Melissa just brought up. Yeah, Melissa, when you watch the playback, we brought that scene up. I love that scene too. When he fights Finn and he gets drunk. Oh my god, it's so iconic. I love a starchy, buttoned up Duke who is anything but in reality, and when he shows that, it's everything. It's absolutely everything to me.
Okay, so we have the name for the book. Glory and the Master of Shadows. Is this part of her new series?
I think
Comes
so.
out. No, it's part of Lady Charlotte's Society of Angels and is book number 4.
Yes.
So this will be something that I think we have to read.
Yeah. Because that, I know what you're talking about. Is this not her newest series? I think it is.
No, it says on Goodreads that's book number 4.
Yeah, of that series.
Yeah.
I remember, I think y'all read the first book for like a historical romance readathon.
Yeah, and I have book number 2. I'm not sure if I have book number 3 physically, but
I mean, honestly, I have no issue reading book 4 of a series for a book club, but you know, that's me.
Yeah, okay, if you have no issue, then we'll consider that.
And then
there's so many like have you read the new Lorraine Heath novel? Oh wait, is that out? No, that's not out yet, right?
No,
When is that one out?
Lorraine Heath, I actually have a lot of catching up to do with her because like I haven't read her Once Upon a Dukedom series at all, and I've heard really good things about it, but I haven't read it.
Yes, Once Upon a Dukedom is the latest series, and I really like that one. Want to read? Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll consider and think about this offline because this is just going to take so long for us to kind of like narrow down.
Yeah. And guys, feel free to leave a comment like Linda did if you have suggestions. But there's nothing like immediately popping into my mind for March, but we have a few things kind of, floating around to consider. So.
Is that series connected to Once Upon a Dukedom? Like the new series from Lorraine Heath?
It might be. I don't know anything about her newest series, actually.
I don't even know what the title of her newest book is called. I just know it's blue.
I know. All I know is that I don't like the font because it's really modern.
Yeah. And then the second book in that series has the cover release, and it's literally this like it's the same thing, same font that you hate.
Oh, yep. Yeah.
The Counterfeit Scoundrel is part of her Chessmen Masters of Seduction series. And this book comes out at the end of February. Can we do it?
What book is it?
Lorraine Heath's newest novel is coming out at the end of February, like February 21st, next week.
The only reason why I'm like, because I want to read some of her other, like I said, like the Once Upon a Dukedom series first. Like I want to, I have a lot of other books that I want to read by her first. But I do think that The Portrait of a Duchess should also be a contender for March because this is coming out March 7th. Yes.
Okay.
Did you read the Ray Cass?
No.
Okay.
I heard mixed feelings about that one.
I personally really, really loved it.
Okay.
But like me and Crystal loved that book. Okay. And then I think the people who really didn't like it went into it expecting something different, to be fair.
Okay.
But this is
this the second book in the series though? The Portrait of the thing?
Yeah, Portrait of a Duchess is book 2. Which this has been long awaited because this book came out in like early 2020. Like it's been like 3 years.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for sure.
You know what? I'm intrigued by that one because there's like so much hype in like another live show that I was a part of.
Oh, Jess also gave this 5 stars. She
The
also really
portrait, the
loved the
portrait.
Raycast. The Raycast.
Okay, because I know Lacey gave it like maybe 3.
Christy gave it 5 stars. Riley gave it 5 stars. But I know like Lacey gave it 3 stars. There were a couple other people that gave it 3 stars. So I think people went into it expecting something a bit different. This is definitely more of a drama than a comedy for one thing. And because it's called The Raycast, people just thought it was going to be like the heroine just like having a good time with dudes and just like, you know, doing whatever the hell she wants. But really it's definitely a much more serious book than that. So yeah.
Yeah. And also I agree. The Duchess Hunt is a very good book and you should definitely read it whenever
I'm excited for that. I'm excited for that one, and I'm excited for book 1 of that series.
The Duchess Hunt is like a historical romance of the trope of like billionaire boss and secretary, because he's like the duke and he's trying to look for a wife and she's the secretary and she's like finding like a list of people that he should meet. And there's a Megan Frampton book which Rachel will probably look at and go and put it on the bottom of her list.
I literally have no interest. I like the cover though. The cover is really pretty for that one. But I literally
I'm gonna read it. Don't worry, guys, Lexi. I'm gonna read it. And I'll tell you to you straight. 3 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5. It's or 2 out of 5.
Never in between.
Yeah, it's just never in between. It's either really great or really bad. Yeah. All right.
Oh yeah, Melissa, that was another scene that I forgot to bring up when he's trying to take her to dinner. And she's like, no, because I'm going to ruin your reputation. And he's like, I don't give a shit. Like, no, I'm taking you to dinner. That's the end of it. Another amazing, amazing scene. And then I did briefly bring this up, but like, once again, all the scenes that take place in the water, like the very beginning taking place in the ocean, and then like all the scenes in the indoor swimming pool, like just absolutely iconic.
Yeah.
So good. So good.
All right, so I think we're gonna wrap up the show here, and then make sure to follow us on our Instagrams, because I feel like that's where we do most of our announcing of our news first for our live show, and then we also talk about it in our videos too as well. But we will pick a book and a date because we have not done both yet, and then we'll update everybody. So yeah, thank you to everybody who joined our show and listen to us.
Yay! This was an awesome discussion, guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for participating and commenting. We enjoyed it. All right. Bye.
Have a good night, everyone.